Hi guys, I made a video to show you what I would have showed you in class today, and hopefully this will be helpful in navigating the Google Sheets and your big idea project. Of course, I'm always happy to help you in person as well. So here I am in our Moodle page, and I'm going to go to week 3, and we're going to go into week 3 materials. I know we're in week 5 right now, but this is where our Google Sheets doc is. So there we go. And at this point, you may need to log into Google. If you haven't done that already, this tells you how to log into your Lane Google account. Your username is your last name, first initial at my.lanecc.edu. And the passphrase is your L number passphrase. So I logged into Moodle first and then Google, but you could do it the other way around. And then we click on week 3 materials, which we did. And now we're about to go and open item 3-4, which is the Big Idea 2 Google Sheets template, and then go to File, Make a Copy, which I'll show you in one moment. And when the window pops up, add your first and last name and Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, because that's the class you're in. So let's go and take a look. This is the file I want you to open. This is the Google Sheets template. So the first thing you do is you go to File, Make a Copy, and this little window pops up. I'm going to click here and replace that information with my first name and last name and Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, so that I know which class you're in. And this creates a copy. It'll be in your Google Drive. So click OK. And I can close the original because I don't need that. Here is my copy of the Google Sheets template. So I'm going to put all the information in here and show you how to do that. The cost is $6,500. That was the cost of my car. Notice that when I hit enter, it shows up with a $sign. I think it's already set in there to do that, but if not, you can click on that cell and then go click the $sign and it formats as currency. Now we don't have any other one-time costs unless you do, but I can go ahead and still treat this like a total column. So I'm going to highlight cells C6 through C9, and then I go over here to the More option, and I pick this button, and then I ask it to sum. That means add them all up. So here I see what I could have typed, which was equals sum parentheses C6 colon C9 close parentheses. If I hit enter, it totals that column, which is of course 6,500. But notice that if I added 1,000 here for something else, then it would give me that total. I'm going to delete that. Okay, so item 2, recurring costs. So I have, this is from page 70 in my book, registration was 10 cents per trip. Insurance, $1.77. Repairs, $2.40. Tires, tab, 0.19. Enter. Oil changes, 0.29, and finally fuel, which is $1.88 per trip. So these are all my costs per trip. I don't need to put the other information from that table on page 70 in here, just these from the final column. And then here I want to have the total for all those values, so I'm going to highlight all of them and then click the sum. Or I could have just typed equals sum, parentheses C14 colon C21, enter. And that gives me the total of 663. Again, if yours isn't formatting as money, you can just highlight all of these and then click the $sign. Or if it ever was formatting as money and you didn't want it to, you could go to Format, Number, and turn this off and tell it not to be formatted as money. And that didn't work. Number, oh, I guess I just want it to be, if I wanted it to be a regular number, I would click over here and it would stop being currency. But right now I want it to be currency. Okay, so that's item 2. So now I know that the fixed cost is $6,500, the variable cost is $663. I'm ready to type my formula in here. Have you thought of what it is? I don't want to tell you before you think of it. You should have this on page 71 in your book under question 2. So I'm going to start off with C equals, then I need the one-time cost plus my cost per trip times the number of trips. Don't put a number in here, just write trips. Or you could put T in there. That gives you the total cost for any number of trips. So this is a very useful formula. You're going to use it in parts 4 and 5 below. I don't know why that just moved. I'm just going to hit enter and hope it just stays there. Okay, so that formula stayed there, but I am going to be using that formula here and here and in the chart at the top of the next section. So here, cost of owning and operating a car for a month. The first thing you need to think about is how many trips in 1 month. Well, right now you know your trips per week. You had that on page 69. Times 4, and I'll count that as trips in a month. Now that's not your answer for question 4. That just gives you what to plug in the formula. So for me, my trips in a month was 8 per week times 4, so I had 32 trips per month, and then I took that 32 trips and plugged it in here. 663 times 32, do that multiplication first, and then add 6,500, and I get my cost of driving for 1 month. And some people are like, well, why do I have to pay 6,500 every month? It's not for every month, it's just if you owned a car for a month, you would have to pay for the car and pay for the cost per trip. So this is going to be, I'm guessing, in the 7,000 ballpark. I could look up that answer, but I don't have it handy. Okay, down here, cost of owning and operating the car for 10 years. Well, how many trips in 10 years? So take your trips per week times, well, let's go straight to the 1 year amount. So times 52 weeks, and then times what? Times 10 years. And that is equal to what to plug into the formula, because that'll give you your trips in 10 years. So that's not going to answer your question, but that will tell you what number you take back up to this formula and plug in here. So you're ready for that. Those are my hints for you. Let's go up here, number of trips. Notice that I said make your number of trips column increment by the number of trips per year. So I'm ready to go here. First one is 0. Now I figured out that I take 416 trips per year. So I know that this is going to be 416, this is going to be 832, and I can't do the next one in my head. I'm going to have Google Sheets do the math for me. So instead of typing these in manually, I'm just going to go back up here and tell it equals E4 plus 416. And that's going to take the previous cell, which was E4, add 416 to it, and now when I drag this formula down, all of them are going to be 416 more than the previous. So that's perfect. This is now a 5-year point right here, 5 years worth of trips. I just need to use the cost formula to complete this part. So equals, now I'm referencing the formula that I have on the previous column, so equals 6,500 plus $6.63 times the number of trips, but I'm not going to type a word, I'm going to reference this cell. And I'm going to be looking for this cell referencing when I grade your big idea. So E4 references this cell, and the answer when I hit enter should just be 6,500, which it is. And now if I go back here and get the black plus and drag it down, nothing happens. But if I go up here and get the black plus and drag it down, the whole table gets populated. So the only thing that I don't like is that I want this to be money. I highlight this, go click here, money. Now I've got it, so it looks like I'm going to be spending $20,000 over the course of 5 years, which is 2,080 trips. And that's pretty good. This is complete. Do some math if you don't agree with it. Notice that if I click into this cell and then I go look at the formula bar, it's 6,500 plus 663 times E7. And E7 is my number of trips, which is right next to it. So every cell is being referenced. This one is E7. Okay, I'm ready to create my graph. So I'm going to highlight all of these. I don't need to highlight that one, but I can highlight everything else. Go to Insert, Chart. And here comes my chart. I don't like that it's a column graph, so the first thing I do is change it to line graph. I also don't like that it's 2 different lines. It should only be 1 line. One of my students told me that you can just click on these 2 and that it fixes that. So I want to use row 3 as headers and use column E as labels. If I go and look at this, I can see that the headers indeed are in row 3. So that's nice. And I like my graph. I can see that my initial cost was $6,500. The only thing I don't like about this is that it doesn't have the axes labeled. So I want to insert an axis label that says that this is the number of trips. I'm going to go to Customize, and I'm going to go to Chart and Axis Titles, and then I click this drop-down menu and I get Horizontal Axis Title, and then I can just type in number of trips. And that comes up nicely right there. And then I'm going to go to the drop down and select vertical axis title and type in cost of driving, or you could type in total cost, something like that, enter. And now both of these are labeled. And because I've got these both labeled, this becomes redundant. So I can click here, and that's the legend, and I can just say, nope, don't need it. So that goes away. And I'm done editing the chart, so I close this, click on the graph once, and then I click again to drag it over into the chart spot. And it looks like my big idea is complete. Well, I left this for you to do, but you can work that out. And remember that the only other thing you have to do is a summary paper, and the instructions for that are in your book on page... Oh, I keep having the wrong page number, but I'm going to guess page 67-ish. So there's the instructions for your summary paper there. And one final thing, how to turn it in. You're going to submit it electronically to me by using this share button. So click the share button, and then you're going to share it to me, typing in my email address, tonyp@lanecc.edu. This gives you options to allow me to either edit, comment, or view. It's fine to leave it on edit. And then you just click send and it sends it to me. I'm not going to do that right now, but you can share it with me that way. So thanks for watching. I hope this helps, and if you have any questions, feel free to email me or come by my office hours.